a creation of a north-south cultural green axis in addition to the east-west existing commercial density city axis. A harbor bay connection through the extension of green areas and park space to the harbor, keeping cultural heritage building and including the south extension of the lake following the Altos plan, eliminate or remove highways or streets from the ground level, improving pedestrian relation and protecting bird life. To the north, the creek would be reconstructed. The use of space above the runways to create a big building, the living big organism, to accommodate 20,000 citizens, including 3 high-rise buildings and a square in the axis crossing. A main densification is needed in the center of Reykjavik, and Vansmiri is a good place for this. However, this densification shouldn't be a building development to take up the whole area, but a concentrated one. This development not only creates and releases the park space, but brings life into the area as well. Also, it will be a pedestrian network system. 2 longitudinal service systems in 2 layers, a car level and a pedestrian one. Ramps will connect the internal street with the park and other cultural buildings. The spaces for housing development will be placed longitudinally in an area of 100 by 50 meters. The regulations should establish a maximum gross floor area, a maximum height of 6 levels approximately, a maximum volumetric occupation factor, an internal street and typologist minimum sun pass. The housing development should contain a mix of typologies and uses, a low-income and a high-income housing. The classification may be based in the relation area per person. This allows same building class for everybody. A subsidized policy is suggested through low price per square meter for low area person ratio and a high price for high area person ratio. The existing runways of the airport will be included in the traffic system like main streets or highways. The north-south axis will improve the connection from downtown to south. The west-east axis will connect the center with the east. In addition, the northwest runway will be extended to connect the axis crossing Underground Road interchange to the Cloverleaf interchange, and a hub transportation building will be placed in the middle. The whole area will be dealt with zoning in the thematic park, the Four Seasons Park. Deforestation treatment will be in accordance with the thematic purpose. The whole park will nave pedestrian and jogging paths, leisure and lounge spaces, and outdoor theaters for cultural activities. Taking into account that an emblematic project in a science technology thematic park should be naturally associated to the exemplification of the scientific work, the ideas for the project intertwine throughout 3 paths. First, the unattainable total knowledge representation. Second, the use of classic and modern mathematic concepts in the designing process. And finally, the structure matches a current scientific concept. In other words, it is thought not as a part conglomerate, but as a whole system. Generally, it is understood that knowledge grows in layers. The new contains the old. However, there is an opposition, old-new. In this case, determinism and indeterminism, part analysis systemic approaches also extensible to what has been built and the new object. We will use the ellipsis leitmotif in the Zebel Park design to solve this dialectic. The response of designers has always been in line with its period's feeling and thinking. It is impossible to think a structural design not in parts in a period where the scientific method is based in parts analysis. Likewise, we must leave to the a priori design conceptual stance in parts, since in our own time the way to see the world in parts has been superseded. A structure division in parts is only an a priori designing stance as the scheme shown. The stress is essentially continuous and constitutes a system or net interrelated. Though the stress mechanics in an atomic level is not well known yet, The structural analysis modern model is based on the idea that all the involved stresses can be reduced at the interactions of just three of them: tensile, compression, and shear stress. The idea is very simple. Why not think the structure as a continuous system or a tensile compression whole system instead of a part conglomerate? In other words, a true structure, or at least a more true structure, shows more how the matter really works. In this combination, a spider web withstands the tensile stress and an egg holds the compression stress. In this way, the structure would have two continuous and diverse areas: the web in traction and the enveloping compressed. The stress particular features determine a specific behavior of the matter, since this is adapted or works according with its own molecular structure. Hence, certain materials suit best to certain stresses. The internal tensile stressed area will be covered in steel. Concrete will be used in the external compressed area. If we join the whole tensile stress area from a logical point of view by a simple thread, it outstandingly has a nonlinear trajectory. The set resembles a chaotic attractor behavior.